Chapter 4, Organizing for Improvement. In this chapter, summarizing the Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, Control DMAIC project methodology, understanding the many areas of Six Sigma application, reviewing roles and responsibilities in Six Sigma deployment, and following the deployment and implementation process. Six Sigma changes the lives of individuals and the conduct of organizations. Unlike most other business improvement initiatives, Six Sigma isn't just feel-good stuff. It's an aggressive, targeted regimen, a pervasive, challenging, systematic eradication of waste and inefficiency. Six Sigma helps you uncover defects and problems that develop and hide in your organization. This chapter introduces the 5 phases of the Six Sigma DMAIC project methodology: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control, that we deal with in much more detail in parts 2 and 4 of this book. In this chapter, you find out how to apply the DMAIC methodology in specific areas of the organization and read about the individuals who take on specific roles and responsibilities in a Six Sigma initiative. Finally, you see that the deployment and implementation processes follow a prescriptive roadmap in the 5 stages of a Six Sigma project. DMAIC, introducing your product strategy. At the business level, Six Sigma projects are the players in the overall game plan of a breakthrough performance improvement initiative. The business perspective is that a Six Sigma project is the agent of action that executes the business strategy and returns the results. Every Six Sigma project follows a standardized and systematic method named for each of its phases: define, measure, analyze, improve, control, and known by its acronym DMAIC. This method defines a formalized problem-solving procedure that can improve any type of process in any organization by improving the process's efficiency and effectiveness. You can see a breakdown and graphical representation in Figure 4.1. Define, set the context, key metrics, and objectives for the project. Measure, capture the current baseline performance and capability of the process or system being improved. Identify all possible contributing factors. Analyze, narrow the pool of possible factors down to the critical few. Use data and tools to understand the cause and effect relationships in the process or system. Improve, develop and validate the modifications that lead to an improvement in the process or system. And control, establish plans and procedures to ensure the improvements are adopted and sustained. DMAIC improvement methodology. For define, you might write the problem statement, the objective statement, prioritize, and launch the project. For measure, you could understand the process, validate the data accuracy, and determine process capability. For analyze, you could determine the relationship of y equals f of x plus e and screen for the potential causes. For improve, you could determine, validate, and implement solutions to achieve the objective statement. And for control, you can implement process control methods and monitor performance to sustain results. Each phase of the methodology has been thoughtfully designed to create a logical progression of finding the practical solution of the problem for breakthrough rates of improvement. DMAIC is applied by highly trained practitioners who complete improvement projects that are managed to financial targets. This book is designed to help you become one of those practitioners. In DMAIC, business processes are improved by following a structured method with set steps or toll gates. Only as you start and complete one step are you ready to move on to the next. After moving through all the steps, and only when you can show that the DMAIC project has generated breakthrough benefit, can you then say you've completed a Six Sigma project. Parts 2, 3, and 4 of this book cover the details of executing each of these phases in detail, including the methods and tools you need to complete a DMAIC project. Note, some companies and Six Sigma practitioners place an R for recognize before the D for define, indicating that you must first recognize and choose the right problem to solve or need to improve before you can define what the problem or need is. We start with the D in this book. Venturing to the domains of activity. You can apply Six Sigma to 4 areas or domains of activity. Thinking for breakthrough. The domain of thinking focuses on improving the capacity and efficiency of every employee. Processing for breakthrough. The domain of processing focuses on improving existing processes, and a large number of employees are involved in this task. Designing for breakthrough. Fewer people are directly involved in designing, which focuses on improving the designs of new products and processes. Managing for breakthrough. Every organization has a small number of leaders who are responsible for setting strategy and driving overall business results. In the following sections, we cover these domains in more detail. Thinking for breakthrough. Thinking for breakthrough is a set of guiding principles that fuels culture change and gets many people speaking the same language of performance improvement. Thinking for breakthrough is the realm of activity focused on the underlying principles of Six Sigma, see Chapter 3. Because directives and procedures aren't the only things that guide the performance of a business, period. Improvement projects and initiatives aren't just about methods and tools, and wholesale change isn't driven by the minority, but by large masses of people who together constitute real and lasting culture change. Sweeping culture change and improvement require you to get everyone in an organization aligned to the same direction, values, and way of thinking. The traditional path of Six Sigma has been to first lead and then do. First, stimulate change and then perform the change process by following a stepwise methodology. Six Sigma change agents apply the guiding principles of Six Sigma as they lead and do. Thinking for breakthrough emerged only after Six Sigma was proven and became pervasive, and only after its underlying principles were well understood by so many practitioners. Whereas processing, design, and managing for breakthrough are methodology and tool-driven, thinking for breakthrough is mind-driven. Processing for breakthrough. Processing for breakthrough is the realm of activity that focuses on optimizing the performance of existing business and operational processes. Any process is theoretically capable of operating at its entitlement level. The performance level it has demonstrated it can operate at in the best case, even if it doesn't perform to that level all the time. Head to Chapter 5 for more on entitlement. If a budgeting process is capable of operating at a 95% acceptance level for several weeks out of the year, you can say that 95% is the entitlement level for that process. Generally speaking, entitlement is the very best a process, product, service, or transaction can do without needing a redesign. When you're processing for Six Sigma, you take actions and implement improvements that enable your process to perform to its utmost potential all the time, not just part of the time, within the limitations of its current design. You do so by applying the DMAIC methodology through Six Sigma improvement projects, all of which are focused on improving processes that are aligned with business priorities set by management. The people who are directly responsible for processing for breakthrough are called process owners, project champions, master black belts, green belts, yellow belts, and sometimes white belts. You get a full description of who these people are and what they do in the filling the roles who you need to know section later in this chapter. Designing for breakthrough. Designing for breakthrough is the realm of activity focused on optimizing the design process prior to manufacturing products, delivering services, or conducting transactions for customers. Design for Six Sigma, DFSS, is an approach for planning, configuring, qualifying, and launching products, services, transactions, processes, systems, and events that move quality upstream in an organization. By upstream, we mean that DFSS methods and tools enable you to anticipate the source of development, manufacturing, or performance problems before they occur so that you can design and plan in a way that allows you to avoid them. Designing quality into products, services, transactions, processes, systems, and events from the beginning is what prevents the hidden factory from arising, eroding value, and ultimately eating away at profits. Chapter 2 gives you the lowdown on hidden factory, where rework and fixes occur from not doing the job right the first time. DFSS maximizes the confidence that a product, service, transaction, process, system, or event design will perform to its entitlement level in the presence of uncertainties that can't be feasibly managed. First, DFSS reduces the risk in the performance and attributes of a design, customer satisfaction issues. Second, it lowers the risk associated with the business and operational viability of a design, provider satisfaction issues. DFSS isn't just an area of focus for design engineers in a company. It's applicable to the design process within any domain. DFSS enables you to build quality into processes and outcomes such that the opportunity for damaging variation and defects never occurs. Managing for breakthrough. Managing for breakthrough entails all the plans, systems, and processes for leading improvement within an organization. It's the mechanism by which an organization drives and supports the activities in the domains of thinking, processing, and designing for breakthrough, which we cover in the preceding sections. W. Edwards Deming, who lived from 1900 to 1993, arguably the most influential thought leader in the realm of quality over the last 100 years, asserted that the realm of management is where quality improvement starts and where its solution resides. In fact, Deming said that management is responsible for 85% of all problems because it creates the systems that prevent workers from being fully effective. Managing for breakthrough involves selecting and training the right people, installing an improvement infrastructure, assimilating certain software tools, and establishing a management system, methods, and practices that are robust enough to set an organization on a new performance path. More information on the management aspects of selecting Six Sigma projects is in Chapter 5, and you can find a complete rundown on all the important tools for managing Six Sigma in Part 5. Because Six Sigma is an intervention that sets an organization on a new performance path, managing for breakthrough is a matter of leadership. Positive leadership moves people and organizations in a new direction, disrupting the status quo. The executives, champions, and deployment leaders are directly responsible for managing the Six Sigma initiatives. Sometimes a Master Black Belt is also involved in managing for breakthrough. You can get a full description of who these people are and what they do in the following section. Filling the roles, what you need to know. The full deployment and implementation of a Six Sigma initiative in an organization requires the collective participation of numerous people, each of whom is responsible for fulfilling specific roles and obligations at both the managerial and technical levels. Most often, these people are drawn from within the ranks of the company and are specially trained to the requisite skills. The rigorous nature of a Six Sigma deployment compels an organization to call on its very best people to participate. When you're involved in a Six Sigma initiative, you're working with the best and brightest, and you're part of a structured assembly of talent that works together to achieve the breakthrough goals of Six Sigma improvement. One of the single greatest characteristics of Six Sigma is that it develops leadership. Regardless of your role or function, you develop leadership characteristics you didn't have before. Your personal and professional lives have new potential and new meaning. Six Sigma requires energized thinking, an open mind, and an unquenchable thirst for truth and betterment. The Six Sigma mindset is one that initiates change, sees problems as opportunities, and formally questions fundamental assumptions until the root causes are characterized, optimized, and controlled. These are principles and practices of leadership, and they're a fundamental part of the character of everyone who carries the Six Sigma flag. For every participant, Six Sigma is a breakthrough leadership initiative. Just like the breakthrough performance returns realized by the organization, everyone involved in Six Sigma realizes a nearly unbounded sense of potential. Barriers and limitations melt away. Anything is possible. After you've stepped through the Six Sigma looking glass, there's no turning back. You are transformed. Energized thinking and thirst for truth become part of your being. You feel naturally compelled to question assumptions, search for root causes, and characterize and optimize things. You become a leader. Starting at the top, a Six Sigma initiative begins with a team of executives and business unit senior managers who approve the Six Sigma deployment program, endorse projects, and are accountable for achieving the results. They inject the initial dose of vision and ambition into the organization and apply the business savvy and people skills to stimulate the drive for change. Six Sigma is a top-down initiative. Although Six Sigma methods and tools are applicable at all levels, breakthrough organizational performance requires a fully coordinated commitment, and that can only come from the top down. Warning: you may be tempted to try to introduce a Six Sigma initiative from the bottom up, perhaps because you see the potential of and have control over your area of business, or because your senior management just doesn't get it. You may be successful in applying the Six Sigma methodology in your local business area to achieve a significant level of process improvement, but getting the rest of the organization to embrace Six Sigma has to originate at the top. Prepare yourself to take your success to senior management and take it from the top going forward. Assembling the core team. We can't overemphasize the critical importance of a cross-functional core leadership team in ensuring the efficient and effective rollout of a Six Sigma initiative. The core team is a unified body whose members perform an organizational assessment, benchmark products and services, conduct detailed gap analysis, create the operational vision, and develop implementation plans. The core team ensures completeness of development throughout the organization by taking the following actions: making the initiative highly visible through active and personalized leadership, commitment, and passion for change; installing the measurement system that tracks the progress, installs accountability into the initiative, and provides a visible dashboard of progress and efforts. Excellent. Benchmarking products, services, and processes so that the organization can truly understand its relative position in the marketplace. Setting stretch goals that focus on changing the process by which work gets done rather than tweaking existing processes, leading to leapfrog rates of improvement. Providing knowledge and education to all levels of people because certain methods and tools are necessary to initiate and sustain breakthrough improvement. Evangelizing success stories that demonstrate how Six Sigma methods, technologies, and tools have been applied to achieve dramatic operational and financial improvements in other organizations. Developing and implementing a supporting infrastructure that enables Six Sigma to naturally occur and flourish in a company. Okay. Core team members include the following people and departments: key representatives, functional representatives including finance, training, information technology, human resources, and communications, Six Sigma deployment leader, and business unit leaders. Focusing on functional representatives. Functional representatives are senior corporate staff members who run their respective departments or have large responsibility in those departments. They're well-respected leaders who can drive short-cycle change initiatives because they know the people and have the knowledge they need to set new initiatives in place. Functional representatives include the following. A finance representative is the single point of contact for Six Sigma finance issues and coordinates all project auditing and validating activities, determines how project costs and savings are defined, valued, and reported, develops a project saving audit process, and leads finance participation in the project selection and review processes, and defines accounting and budgeting requirements for Six Sigma related expenses. A training representative is the single point of contact for Six Sigma training issues and coordinates Six Sigma training activities for the entire corporation, configures all training curricula and courseware for the Six Sigma initiative, including executive, champion, master black belt, green belt, yellow belt, DFSS, awareness training, and thinking for breakthrough, schedules and coordinates all Six Sigma training courses, logistics, materials, and supplies, and also develops training sign-up, tracking, and reporting processes. An information technology representative is the single point of contact for Six Sigma IT issues and coordinates Six Sigma IT activities in all organizations. They also arrange for purchase and distribution of Six Sigma software, along with the hardware necessary to support it for training and knowledge transfer, analytical work, project management, and process improvement. It's like what I'm doing. Prepares and executes plans for providing end-user support for Six Sigma software. A human resources representative is the single point of contact for Six Sigma HR and coordinates all Six Sigma related HR activities. Writes job descriptions for all Six Sigma positions and prepares an organizational chart that identifies the roles, develops compensation packages for all Six Sigma positions, and works with business leadership to configure reward, recognition, and career development plans. And a communications representative. A communications representative is the single point of contact for all Six Sigma communication activities and leads the development and implementation of communication plans, organizes a process for communicating internal successes, and coordinates communication with stock analysts, suppliers, customers, partners, and investors, and also arranges for the distribution of reference, informational, educational, and background material throughout the company. Each Six Sigma role player works with other members of the team, as shown in Figure 4.2. Keeping the process... I'll stay seated. Keeping the project as the central focus. Spotting the deployment leader. The Six Sigma deployment leader is the single most important individual in the development process. The deployment leader is often a senior manager or executive who reports directly to the corporate level person responsible for launching and sustaining Six Sigma. The deployment leader ensures the effective alignment of corporate strategic goals with business unit deployment plans. She monitors progress and sustains performance at target levels as Six Sigma is executed throughout the organization. In this role, the deployment leader develops the Six Sigma rollout plan, helps select champions, black belts, green belts, and yellow belts, who we introduce later in the chapter, and ensures proper training. The deployment leader also works closely with the Six Sigma champion and serves as a conduit between champions and executive management as higher level goals and objectives are communicated downward and goals and plans are aligned with implementation actions. This is Figure 4.2. I will read through this. And I think that's just going to be my tactic going forward, is to just read through these graphs so that you get them read to you, which is the whole point of this. Role relationship map. The power of Six Sigma revolves around black belt and green belt projects and involves many others. Business unit deployment champion, project champion, master black belt is a project support, financial rep is a project support, black belt and green belt, black belt's functional manager, process owner, yellow belt, team members 1, 2, and 3, all right here in Figure 4.2, obviously. and try to stand again. Okay. Specific responsibilities of the deployment leader also include the following: ensuring accountability for the results of Six Sigma, driving the vision and mission for Six Sigma into the organization, removing barriers to successful implementations, internally publicizing Six Sigma goals, plans, progress, results, and best practices, creating and maintaining passion and commitment to Six Sigma goals, updating executive leadership on the progress of the business units. Okay. Large corporations made up of many business units may need deployment leaders at the business unit level. Reporting directly to a business unit executive leader, the business unit deployment leader is responsible for initializing and implementing Six Sigma within her particular organization. In smaller organizations, the roles of the deployment leader and the Six Sigma champion may be combined and filled by a single individual. Naturally, the Six Sigma deployment leader has a great deal of rapport with her peers and has typically functioned as a manager or team leader. She's responsible for developing and communicating the corporate vision for Six Sigma and ensuring that appropriate resources and support structures are in place. Meeting the Six Sigma champion. The Six Sigma champions are responsible for disseminating and successfully applying Six Sigma technical know-how. They develop a plan for transforming their organizations to Six Sigma as the way we think and work. They're also responsible for ensuring the success of black belts and green belts. Champions have long-standing rapport with key managerial and staff people and a demonstrated ability to pull people and resources together on short notice to achieve key objectives. The Six Sigma champion identifies, selects, scopes, prioritizes, and assigns projects and aligns projects to business strategies, selects black belts, green belts, and yellow belts, and ensures that they're appropriately trained, tasked, and deployed, supports black, green, and yellow belts through the removal of organizational barriers, securing necessary resources, coaching, and reviewing project implementation status, establishes an adequate backlog of projects, and ensures that all belts and master black belts are fully dedicated to Six Sigma activities, reports progress against target metrics to champions, and promotes best practices, sharing and leverages solutions to improvements across organizational boundaries. Large corporations made up of many business units may have a senior champion as well as champions at the business unit level. As we noted in the preceding section, smaller organizations may combine the roles of the deployment leader and the Six Sigma champion and fill them with a single person. Number crunching karate. Black belts and their brethren. This sounds good. Solving problems the Six Sigma way requires varying degrees of skill in applied statistics. Solving complex problems requires considerable statistical experience, but dealing with moderate problems or routine work takes less skill. In Six Sigma, the highest level of statistical skill is called black belt. The medium skill level is green belt, and the everyday level is yellow belt. The nearby sidebar explains where the belt terminology comes from. I'll get to that soon. The martial arts connotation really does make sense. A Six Sigma black belt is so expertly skilled and so experienced that she understands the true nature of her opponent, an underperforming process. And she knows how to apply the right skills and tools with grace and minimal effort to channel its energy and fully achieve the organization's goals. Although the belt methodology is universally understood, it's not universally accepted. Many companies and industries apply it as a broad standard, but the nomenclature is downright unfashionable in some circles. Figure 4.3 shows the hierarchy of practitioners. You can read more about the roles and skills of the various belts in the following sections. It's figure 4.3. And I'm going to read this sidebar here, as previously mentioned. Tightening your belt around Six Sigma roles. In the early 1990s, Motorola was assisting Unisys in solving complex problems associated with the production of large-scale, multi-layer printed circuit boards for military applications. They found the solutions by applying the advanced statistical analysis tools of Six Sigma. The managers wanted to promote the value of the expertise developed within the team. One evening, while unwinding after a long day's work at the Unisys facility in Salt Lake City, they hit on the idea of calling these engineers black belts, a term that captured the mystique of their discipline and skill. "Now that's a name I can sell," proclaimed a Unisys manager. And it did sell. As the Six Sigma methodology flourished, so did the title of Six Sigma Black Belt as the master of statistical problem solving. Later, as the need for lesser degrees of skill was identified, the terms Green Belt and Yellow Belt were added. Across the global Six Sigma landscape, you can also find additional variants, including Blue Belt, Brown Belt, and even White Belt, but only before Labor Day. Just kidding. You'll even hear jokes about chartreuse belts, part green, part yellow, polka dotted belts, and more. Can't wait. Okay, so the top of this pyramid is executive leadership, followed by champions, followed by master black belts, followed by green belts. No. Sorry. Executive leadership, champions, master black belts, green belts, yellow belts, project team members. That's the levels of the pyramid, which you can rewind to, that I just showed you in figure 4.3. The leadership and technical roles of Six Sigma flow down through an organization in hierarchical fashion, with a very small number of leaders and champions at the top, a small number of master black belts, and green belts in the middle, and a large number of yellow belts and team members at the bottom. Master black belts, MBBs, are the trainers. They are accomplished black belts with teaching skills, hands-on experts who teach and mentor black, green, and yellow belts, and who often own the Six Sigma training curricula and Six Sigma knowledge content for their organizations. As mentors, MBBs consult other belts on fundamental business issues, as well as specific project application issues, challenges, and problems. Okay, black belts are the most highly trained experts in the complete set of Six Sigma methods and tools. They're highly respected for processing the knowledge and skill required to facilitate breakthrough level improvements in the most complex of processes. Black belts typically comprise 1 to 2% of the organization and work full-time leading Six Sigma projects. The black belt implements Six Sigma projects that historically are advertised to return a bottom line value of $150,000 or more to the organization. A Six Sigma black belt may implement as many as 4 such projects a year. Mentors and coaches others in applying Six Sigma methods and tools, leads complex departmental business unit or cross-functional process improvement projects that require significant data and analytical skill, disseminates new strategies and tools through training, workshops, case studies, local symposia, and more, and discovers internal and external suppliers and customers opportunities for new Six Sigma projects. Green belts. The Six Sigma Green Belt is trained and skilled to solve the majority of process problems in both transactional and manufacturing environments. Green belts are process leaders, process owners, professional staff, operational specialists, managers, and executives who have a significant degree of business leadership, statistical, and problem-solving skills. Green belts typically make up 5 to 10% of the organization and work part-time, either in support of black belt projects or leading less complex projects of their own. The green belt implements about 2 projects per year that historically are advertised to return an average bottom line value of $35,000, teaches local personnel to apply Six Sigma strategies and tools, and coaches local personnel through one-on-one support, leads departmental, business unit, or cross-functional process improvement projects in environments that don't require complex data or heavy statistical analysis, disseminates new strategies and tools via training, workshops, case studies, local symposia, and more, and discovers internal and external, that is, suppliers and customers, opportunities for Six Sigma projects. Yellow belts. All members in the organization can apply elements of the Six Sigma methodology and improve their work environments. Everyone can assist green belts and black belts in completing projects, but not everyone needs to be immersed in the details or challenges at a green or black belt level. The Six Sigma yellow belt is the everyone else. Yellow belts are staff members, administrators, operational personnel, project team members, or any other technical or non-technical position. Nearly anyone can identify measurement scales, define critical process factors, collect some data, characterize a process, make easy improvements, and cultivate opportunities. The goal of yellow belts is to think in a data-driven, cause and effect process manner and apply this thinking to their areas of work. Yellow belts support black belt and green belt projects and can even take on small projects of their own. Following the 5 stages of a Six Sigma initiative, you don't start a Six Sigma program by launching right into a bunch of projects. Six Sigma is strong stuff. You move deliberately and prescriptively through distinct phases. A Six Sigma initiative occurs in 5 major stages. See figure 4.4-4. Okay. The 5 major stages are: 1. You initialize Six Sigma by establishing goals and installing infrastructure. 2. You deploy the initiative by assisting, training, and equipping the staff. 3. You implement projects and improve performance, yielding financial results. 4. You expand the scope of the initiative to include additional organizational units. And 5. You sustain the initiative through realignment, retraining, and evolution. The following sections discuss these phases in detail. Figure 4-4 is Six Sigma progresses in distinct stages and the life cycle of Six Sigma. This is figure 4-4, which we've just been talking about. It's like 5 little fucking arrows. Okay, great. Super duper. Initializing. Ready, aim, ... Six Sigma initiatives are programs. They require programmatic type preparation and planning, beginning with a prescriptive set of readiness tasks. The initialization stage includes selecting the core team, preparing the supporting infrastructure, and enabling the processes. Table 4-1 spells out the elements you have to have in place to facilitate the deployment activities of the next stage, which we cover in the following section. Table 4.1, 4-1. Blah, blah. All right. We're going to talk about an element followed by the details. Okay, the element is launch planning. A fully documented Six Sigma leadership system, implementation plans, schedules, and activity tracking reporting techniques. That's the launch planning. The human resource guidelines, competency models and participant selection, position and role descriptions, compensation, reporting relationships, career planning. The communications plan is the overall strategy, who, what, and when, message content as a function of time, methods, and mediums. Financial guidelines, savings definitions, project forecasting, methods of evaluation, realization tracking, integration of initiative metrics with project tracking and management software, and project selection guidelines, definition criteria, project type categorizations, problem statement targeted savings values, approval process, completion requirements. We have it continued. Table 4.1 continued. Project tracking and reporting. Organization structure, definition, user manuals, and training report generation. Management dashboards are visualizations and presentations of process and project performance with key operational and strategic indicators. And information technology support, software installations, computer needs, intranet development, and databases for final reports. 8 of those. As part of initialization, executive training prepares the executive staff and senior leaders by providing a comprehensive overview of the Six Sigma deployment process and what to expect. The executives also agree on macro items including scope, timeframes, goals, and objectives, and they issue a formal commitment statement to all employees and constituents. Keep the scope of the first deployments in check. The most successful Six Sigma initiatives begin with the deployment scope limited to a selected line of business or division of activity. Deploying, setting the infrastructure in motion. With a supporting infrastructure, corporate goals, and metrics established, the deployment stage begins with selecting the champions and the first candidate black belts, green belts, and yellow belts. Champions are trained in the Six Sigma methodologies, the principles of implementing Six Sigma, and in project selection practices and tools, and begin the critical work of selecting the first Six Sigma projects. Sorry, some of these sentences are like doozies. All right, the core team then deploys the infrastructure outlined in Table 4-1. According to the deployment plan, the first waves of black belts, green belts, and yellow belts are trained and assigned to projects. All types of belt training include defining, characterizing, and improving a work process as part of the training regimen. Although this setup extends the training period, trainees deliver results to the bottom line as they complete their initial training. The training has immediate term return on investment. Implementing, forging first successes. Upon completion of the first waves of belt training, the early successes create momentum, and the Six Sigma initiative begins to gather traction. As successes continue, the initiative can become infectious and turn around even the skeptics. In the implementation stage, the practitioners are defining and mapping processes, identifying critical to quality indicators, collecting performance data, and characterizing process performance. They are conducting statistical analyses, discovering the root causes of problems, and improving performance levels. Your company has begun to root out waste, increase productivity, lower costs, and decrease cycle time. Six Sigma is working! Exclamation point. Remember, watch the first implementations closely to ensure success and to generate positive program momentum. Black belts must be assigned full-time to their projects and given leverage to perform their jobs with backing from top management, or they won't get the job done. Green belts and even yellow belts must be supported in their projects. Technical issues must be addressed head-on with appropriate skill to ensure success. Not all first projects go well, for a variety of reasons. Having early, high-profile projects sputter can threaten the success of the initiative. For this reason, be sure to implement early projects that have a manageable scope, moderate risk, and the promise of reasonable returns. Leave the big-risk, high-reward projects for a little later. Expanding, taking it everywhere. Following the first successful waves of implementation, the organization expands Six Sigma into new locations, functional areas, and lines of business. Remember, introducing Six Sigma into each new line of business is an initiative unto itself and includes the stages of initialization, deployment, and implementation. The lessons learned from the first deployment are included in revisions to the implementation plans going forward. Deploying Six Sigma into each new business or functional area requires some form of tailoring or customization. Examples include Six Sigma in engineering and design areas employs methods and tools of a subfield known as Design for Six Sigma, DFSS, see the Designing for Breakthrough section, and tools like axiomatic design. Six Sigma in manufacturing includes lean practices, which focus on elimination of waste like high scrap rates, inflexible manufacturing systems, poorly documented processes, or large lot production scheduling leading to high inventory levels. You can read more about lean in the latest edition of Lean for Dummies by Natalie Sayer and Bruce Williams, Wiley Publishing. Highly computerized environments may incorporate automated process execution management tools. Deployment into foreign countries requires internationalization and localization of materials and tools. Okay. Also remember that as the portfolio of projects grows and diversifies, applying enterprise-class tracking and management tools is important. Read more about these tools in Chapter 23. The first few waves of projects in any given function or business area harvest what is known as the low-hanging fruit, the obvious opportunities with big returns. As the Six Sigma initiative matures, two phenomena occur. The biggest projects have all been completed, and the Yellow Belt culture is curing little problems before they become big problems. At this point, the project-oriented Six Sigma culture begins to give way to the sustaining culture. Sustaining, the self-healing culture. The Six Sigma initiative changes character after the low-hanging fruit has been harvested. The deployment leader and champion shift the sustaining direction away from a project orientation into a process management approach, where the tools of Six Sigma move to a supporting role as part of how business and work processes execute most efficiently and effectively. The Six Sigma tools take their places in the organization's methodological toolbox, along with other selected tools of business performance operations. In the sustain phase, the culture is self-healing. The Six Sigma project becomes a tool for addressing flare-up issues that emerge from new initiatives and outside forces. Six Sigma training supports these project needs and is also integrated with other methods to support process needs. Training is used as a refresher for existing staff and to enable new hires, contractors, and acquisitions to get up to speed in the Six Sigma culture of the organization. And that does it for Chapter 4 and Part 1. Next up will be Part 2 and Chapter 5.